Hello there. We're well into winter now, and for me, since I was a boy, winter has always been for bushwhacking. And one of my favorite places to explore is the Weldon Spring Conservation Area. I really like it here. It offers over 17,000 acres to explore and a rich history dating back to the 1700s. During the 1800s, all the way up to about 1940, this area was fairly well developed. There were 3 towns, roads, farms, farmsteads, and then in 1940 the government condemned all of this land and used it for TNT production, and then later in 1960 uranium enrichment. And though the government did its best to remove all signs of previous habitation, you can still find cemeteries, chimneys, bits of foundation, and old roadbeds such as the one we're walking along now that are left behind prior government takeover. The government left behind some of their marks on the land as well, such as roads they built, mostly gravel, some asphalt, culvert pipes, a few building foundations. I found a bunker just out in the middle of the woods, a large containment structure sunk deep in the ground. I have no idea what that would have been used for. Railroad tracks, and it's just like a cable pulley system for something that winds up and down through the hills and valleys. A lot of interesting stuff out here. Sometimes it'll just be random car or truck parts. I found a huge motor block one time just on the side of an old road out in the middle of the woods. You never know what you're going to find out here. And the town dumps, those are really interesting to explore. Today we're in the Lost Valley section of Weldon Spring and have 3 specific destinations in mind. But I really like it when we have snow on the ground and the sun has started the melting process. And it reveals previously graded areas like old roadbeds that have not been in use for decades. On this hillside across the valley, I could see a strip of white. Snow's been melted everywhere but on that graded area running down the hill. That's a new road I never knew about. That's for another day though. Here's an old power pole that hasn't been used in roughly 70 years. And you see that strip of white running along the hillside across the valley? That's the old roadbed that curiosity may get the best of me, and we'll walk anyway. I want to see where it lands first. So, turns out that old roadbed is just the Lost Valley Trail, which we're hiking on currently. In fact, a few minutes ago I was looking at this spot right here. Well, curiosity satisfied. Let's take a look at the map. I'll show you what we'll be up to today. Okay, so I'm just holding this up against a tree. Hopefully this looks okay on camera. Here's the trailhead where we parked. Came up the Lost Valley Trail, went right. We're about in this area right here. Soon we'll hit an old roadbed that goes off through the woods. Here to the left, the Scott and McRoberts cemeteries are on that. Before we get to the cemeteries, it looks like there was another old road that teed off of that down into a valley. I've never been able to explore that because it's always been swampy and it's really overgrown with invasive honeysuckle. Since everything's frozen today, hopefully we can get through and maybe find something down there. The adjacent valley up in this area is where that forgotten bunker is located. We'll cut back over to the short loop after that and we'll search a series of mounds in this area right here, and then we'll come back as we head back towards the car and search a series of mounds here. Now those mounds I found just cutting through those and never really explored them thoroughly. Some asphalt roads, some old railroad beds, so who knows what we'll find. Hopefully something cool. So just before this cedar grove, off to the left looks like a wash. That's the old roadbed heading towards the Scott and McRoberts cemeteries and the valley we're in search of. So the old roadbed is on a ridge line and it climbs steadily uphill. Once you get to the top, it flattens out for a while. You're still on the ridge for most of the length of this road. You know, I'm really surprised we don't have more snow. It's been so cold. Until yesterday, we were maybe at 34 degrees, just above freezing, but it was sunny. I guess you combine those two, and that's the end of the snow. Here we go. Okay, so we're still not to the top of the hill, but you can see, hopefully this is apparent on camera. It is here in person. You got this mound and this mound of earth over here, and it's been cut in between there to make an old roadbed. Now I'm thinking All the people that lived out here prior to 1940 were probably off of this road. This is steep, and it just goes down into a really steep-sided, deep valley, which I can't imagine people would want to go into to live down there unless they farmed a field at the bottom of the valley. But the government may have something down there. And behind me, where this old fallen tree is, the roadbed continues towards the McRoberts and then the Scott cemeteries. We're going this way. So far so good, but there are a ton of downed trees down there. You can see the snow across the tops of the trees. I'm hoping we don't have to cut through that. Yeah, we're going through it. So you can sort of see the grade of the road here, and then they cut for drainage off to the side here. The road looks like it curves around into the bottom of the valley. And what's really cool is all the animal tracks in the snow going across the tops of all these trees. And it looks like several different types of animals as well. That is really neat. I can identify a couple. It looks like raccoon. That one looks like a canine, so a coyote. And a possum. Ah, that's really cool. Well, here we go. So it's kind of funny, on the way out here this morning, I'm listening to the radio and the DJs are talking about how we're in coyote mating season right now. It's be careful if you're out in the woods. I'd never considered it before, but coyotes do kill more people in Missouri than any other animal. You get a young dog on the prowl for a mate, you never know how they're going to react, but yeah, I've never seen one actually out here before, so yeah. Okay, so we're almost to the bottom, and the lower you get, closer to the bottom you get, the thicker the brush gets. And signs of that road disappeared a while ago. Yeah, woodpeckers going to town. I can't imagine you'd build a road to nowhere. Although if the government built it, I can imagine it. But since it's winter, the leaves are off, and we've got some snow on the ground, anything like a foundation or building structure should stand out. And I'm going to poke around a bit. It's not swampy yet, so I'm hoping the ground stays frozen. And I'm hoping we find something. If not, the fun's in the exploration anyway. Man, these briars are brutal. So we're in the bottom of the valley in the drainage. I'm going to walk this stream bed for a bit in what would be an upstream direction and just keep my eyes open. There's got to be something down here somewhere, but the brush is so thick, odds are I'm not going to see it if there is. But I'm going to try. Plus, I'm kind of curious to know where this goes. Well, I'm not the only one that thought that walking down here was a good idea. Oh, there's a bird too. But I'm kind of curious as to whether I'm going in the right direction. I'm going up valley instead of down valley. The road petered out about 2/3 of the way down the hill, and so I had no sense of which direction it would have gone once it got down here to the bottom. and it's a long exploration in either direction. I do know going up valley, I'm going to come back out close to the road that we were at and the junction with it with the other roadbed that went down to the Forgotten Bunker. So that's kind of my hunch. I'll always think I missed it though. I'm occasionally popping up out of here to scan the valley floor. The brush is so thick though that it's really difficult to see. I need an overcast day. You can see better at a distance on an overcast day. But it's a large valley floor and I'm really on the eastern edge. Yeah, east-west. We're going north right now. So there could be another bunker or two down here. That first one I found years ago was really cool. Okay, so I popped up out of the stream bed. I found I found a game trail here. Doesn't make the brush that much easier, but it does help quite a bit. And at least I'm on the valley floor where I could see everything a little bit better. It'd be cool if this was a path that, you know, just other explorers have made too. Probably not though. Alright, back in the stream bed. I just spent the last 15 minutes trying to get myself untangled from a thicket of thorns. It had me caught on all sides. I was right in the middle of it, man. I'm not doing that twice. This is really pretty. There's this little spring. Water's trickling out from this hole at the bottom of the hill. You can see it kind of curves and goes up the hill a little bit. Just when I'm thinking where no one has ever been before. It's my second drink bottle on this little exploration so far today. Gatorade. Good thing it was Mountain Dew the first time. Good thing there's room in my pack to pack this out. So, I'm not the only one who thought this was a good idea. Alright, so the brush is opening up at this end of the valley. Makes it a lot easier going. I'm thinking I'm not going to find anything because the valley started to narrow quite a bit. And there's certainly no like graded area where a road would have been. Which means if I would have gone the other direction, I may or may not have found something. There, you never know. But I see a future trip out here. I've got to show you this. This is grapevine. In all my years in the woods, I've never seen it that big before. It was attached to this tree, which obviously has been down for a long time. This is still alive though. It's spread through the woods into other trees. That is something else. Alright, it's decision time. I'm at a point where two valleys come together to make this one valley that we've been exploring. I'm thinking I'm going to take this valley to my right, which would be my left, walking up valley. That gets me back in the general direction of where I started. I have no idea where I'm going to pop out, but we'll eventually get out to an area I recognize. I have no idea where I would go if I went this way. There you go. I'm never really concerned about being lost out here. The Lost Valley Trail is a 12-mile loop trail, and we're somewhere in the middle of that. So I know if I can at least pick one direction and stick to it, I'll eventually come up on the trail. It's all the stuff in the middle, though, where all the little curiosities and interesting things are. This could give you an idea of how I kind of move around through the woods. We're looking at a south-facing slope, which has no snow or little snow and is very thick with brush. And this is a north-facing slope, which still has quite a bit of snow, and the brush is quite thin because of the lack of sunlight, or the low amount of sunlight that it gets. So I try to stay when it's possible in these areas just for ease of movement through the woods. So this wasn't my intended hike for today. This morning I went to Quiver River State Park and I went to bushwhack to try and find the gravestones for David and Mary Dewey, which are kind of in the middle of the park somewhere in the woods. But the roads were closed in that park due to ice, so this was plan B, but I'm having a time of my life. I'm kind of glad it worked out this way. The thing is, I didn't bring anything to prepare for this kind of bushwhack, like some pruning shears would be nice, a folding saw might be handy, leather gloves for sure. So, and just getting chewed up. But that's how it goes. Okay, I'm going to break out of this valley and travel this north-facing slope to the top of the hill. And then from there, I'll probably cut west and try and find that old roadbed that we started this adventure on, where the Scott McRoberts cemeteries are. It should be up there. And I just need to get my bearings. I'm really not sure where I am in relation to where the trail is and some of the other old roadbeds. So that's the direction we're headed. We're back on the old road. We're not as far down this old road as I thought we were. So you see this flag tape on this little tree right here? You see a side trail off the old roadbed, and that's going to take you to the McRoberts Cemetery, which is, it's a ways out there still, a quarter mile maybe, and you'll pass an old house foundation on the way out there, and I believe there was a well. I did a video on the Scott and McRoberts cemeteries last winter. They're two old slave cemeteries, which really surprised me that there were slaves this far north, but there's this one, and then farther down, and this would be on your right, and then farther down on the left is the Scott. I'm not going to show those today because it's about 2 o'clock and I don't have that much daylight, and I want to get to the mounds and check those out and then get back to the car before it's dark. I had a headlamp and a flashlight on charge to take with me on this hike today and forgot them, so I really am going to have to push the sun today. But check that video out, it was pretty cool. Alright, so I'm walking along and I spooked this really large whitetail. He went flag up, running across this old road down here into this little valley. And then I heard him spook another buck farther down that did that little whistle noise they make. And then I saw 3 coyote take off after that first buck. That's pretty wild. Okay, so I rarely get spooked in the woods, but I don't know, I'm getting that feeling. I think maybe just seeing those coyotes running that deer down. You know, I'm crunching in these leaves so I can't hear anything, and occasionally I hear a noise, like a bird or something. And it's got me stopping and looking all around. Yeah, it's kind of an uncomfortable feeling because if this is my last stand, they're not going to find my body until the buzzards circle it. Yeah. Well, this old road's gotten a lot more overgrown in the last year. It's kind of hard to follow in some spots. Alright, so I lost the old roadbed a while ago. And I've been out here dozens of times. I've never had that experience. I mean, I've been on this old roadbed since the 70s. So I know it terminates like in a T with another old roadbed, and it goes down a hill, which I'm hoping this little retention pond is kind of a surprise. I've never noticed it before either, so I'm in a new area. But I'm hoping if I start going down this hill, I'll find that road that it tees into, and then be able to go uphill back to the short loop of the Lost Valley Trail. I'm fine. I really do like this, though. I really do. Okay, we're on the other road that one tees into. So behind the camera, going downhill would take us to the Forgotten Bunker, which I did a video on last year sometime, and that is really cool. I don't have the time to get there today, though. Once again, I don't think I'm going to have the time to cover all the mounds that I wanted to see today, but going up the hill behind me, well, there's a path there. This is actually an old road. You can tell by the grade. This will take us up by an old foundation for some government building and to the short loop of the Lost Valley Trail, which will then make a left and go downhill on back to the trailhead, and we'll pass a big group of mounds on the way back there. So at least we could get one of the areas of mounds explored on the way back to the car. Rabbit tracks. Animals follow the path of least resistance, just like people do. Made it. Let's go find those mounds. Mountain bike tracks. Can you see how it gets to be moundy? All these little mounds in there. Well, they're not really little. They're taller than me. But we're going to go down the trail a little bit and then cut into that and get into the middle of all those. I'm guessing the government made these, and I don't know why. It could be debris from road construction. Plus, there's some railroad tracks going through this area too. It could be that they just use it to bury all their, who knows, toxic waste from what they were, making out here in that TNT factory. Now we're going to be going into the mounds off to the right, but there are mounds off to the left. You can see this is a long, tall one. There's one over here, and this is an old road which was asphalt at one time, but it's degraded to just the gravel now from the asphalt. Farther down this is a motor block. It was a huge one too, like out of a dump truck or something. And then there's some foundation bits and stuff like that towards the end of this road. That was in an earlier video from last year. Let's continue on down the trail. Canine tracks. Hiker tracks. Okay, so this looks like the spot we're going to cut in through these cedars. You can see there's a flat area here, and we've got some mounds to the right and to the left, and it looks like maybe an old roadbed or something in the distance. Let's get into that and see what we find. Well, getting through that was fun. It's a lot thicker here than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be so shaded it wouldn't be this thick. Mounds all around us, and they're really huge too. 20 feet tall maybe, most of them. And they're just long running mounds. And we do have what looks like a graded area running through it. I'm going to poke around a bit, see if I can find anything interesting, and then I'll get back to you. Alright, this is really too dense to move around in. I should have brought well, I didn't plan for this hike this morning, but the pruners and loppers would be handy too out here. So what I'm going to do is get back onto the trail and go farther down. If I remember correctly, there's an easier way to get into the mounds. They run for quite a long distance along the side of the trail, and then see what we can find there. I'm just curious. It seems like they have to be here for a reason. Of course, I'll probably never know what it was. Alright, curiosity got the best of me. Before I get out of here though, back to the trail, I'm going to go to the top of this one mound behind me and just see what's on the other side. Well, it's much larger up here than I expected. Well, I'm really in the thick of it now. Here we are at the top looking down. You have this depression. It's about 30 feet across maybe, and then the next mound over. That looks like it'd be really swampy if the ground wasn't frozen. We're going to carry on down this mound and see what we find. Okay, we're at the other side of the mound. It's about 50 feet across and I don't know how long. Kind of looks like it could be a grade for an old roadbed. I'm going to get down there and check it out. Oh, and there's a pipe sticking up out of the ground with a copper rod just to our left. I'll show you. Okay, we're about halfway down the back side of this mound and we have this pipe and a copper ground rod. Well, I'm pretty sure the government built all this, but I don't know what its use was. Well, you never know what you'll find in the middle of the woods. You can see this looks like it was a graded roadbed with banks on both sides. The bank to our right is the mound that we just came down from. Here are a couple of more pipes. The upper one is capped, and then the bottom one looks like a drain pipe. Oh, it's about a 4-inch pipe. Oh, check this out farther up the hill. Here we have a braided cable. Sorry, it's a really steep hill. And another large pipe. This is about a 5 to 6 inch pipe with a valve on it. Alright, I'm going to posit a theory. All of these things I'm finding on the side of the mound, and they've been exposed due to erosion through the decades. And the pipes are kind of broken pieces of pipe. So I'm thinking these were just junk piles that they just covered in dirt. And this would be probably debris left from when they produced TNT out here, or the uranium enrichment. Either way, I'm probably not in the most environmentally friendly area right now. So this is definitely an old roadbed in between some mounds. I'm headed back towards the trail side. This is so cool. Okay, so here we are on a small mound in between two foundations. You can see the concrete and the bolts with nuts on them sticking up out of the ground. Here's some more foundation at the other end of the mound. We bent the bolts over. Huh. Well, I need a whole day just to explore this area. And the other section of mounds on the back side of the trail is a lot larger than this area. All right, I'm going to head left over another mound to see what we find, get off this roadbed. Here's some more pipe and a tire, some more pipe and a jack. Fire hydrant from 1942. That's probably about the time frame for everything we're finding so far. I think I'm going to head back to the trail, go down a little bit, and I believe there's some, I mean, these just continue on for a long ways, and see if we find anything else. Here's a culvert pipe at the base of one of the mounds. Okay, so here we are on the old roadbed, which is now the trail, and you can see this berm on the other side of this depressed area right here, and that was for a narrow gauge railway. The tracks have been pulled, but some of the ties are still there, and I've showed that in previous videos. Well, the sun's going down and it's cooling off rapidly. We reached our high of 30 sometime this afternoon when it was sunny. We're going to drop down to 10 and I could feel it getting there. Huh, you got 4 T-posts. I'm sure it's there for some reason in the middle of the woods. Well, the sun's going down fast and I've got about 3 miles to get back to the car. I've got to say, my curiosity's been satisfied on those mounds. If I continue to explore them, I just expect to find more of the same. So I hope you enjoyed our adventure together. Thanks for watching. See you next week.